Reform specialist Craig Gussin to tackle some of those issues. Craig, welcome back to California.
Thank you.
I heard you had great weather in Washington while you were there.
It was awesome, but I'm glad I'm not there now because it's pretty nasty.
All right, so healthcare reform's kind of been put on the back burner with all the topics of immigration and guns and everything else. It's sort of been now pushed to the back. But you say that behind the scenes there are people working on this.
There was. When I was there, we had people from the Senate, senators and congressmen and women from both parties talking about healthcare reform and changes that they want to make so that healthcare is less expensive. And, they have, what can we do to make it less expensive? So they're looking at maybe a catastrophic plan so that anybody, right now, to buy a catastrophic plan, you have to be under age 30. But they want to say, why can't we do it for everybody? Why can't everybody go and have 3 or 4 doctor visits that are free, and then everything else goes towards your deductible, which is going to be $6,000, $7,000. But if you think about insurance, insurance is there to cover the big things. You have an earthquake, it's going to cover after so much. Insurance would be the same thing. So that's one of the things that they're looking at doing is how can we bring down the cost. The other thing is that one of the most interesting things I learned there was that 13% of the population spends 82% of medical expenses.
So in what age group?
Across the board.
Across the board? Really?
And they said, when you take away the older people as the last year of their life, you get things such as you need hip surgery, you need, rotator cuff surgery. But the interesting part is, if you go to the dentist and you say, hey, I need a crown, they're going to tell you what it's going to cost before you leave.
Absolutely.
If you need hip surgery or knee surgery, you're not going to know what it's going to cost until you get bills. And we need transparency where they can come in and say, okay, here's what it's going to cost. I saw a study one time on colonoscopies, and it was like anywhere from like $700 to $2,000 if you went and shopped it, but nobody does. They go and they go, I belong to Scripps, Sharp, Kaiser, and I go and get
We let the insurance companies do that for us.
And that's why health insurance is expensive, because healthcare is expensive. If we can drive down the cost of healthcare, we can drive down the cost of insurance. Kaiser's the best example. They have some of the lowest rates in the industry because everybody that works for Kaiser is on salary. They know their expenses going in. If they're doing a surgery or not doing a surgery, their expenses don't change. You're seeing that Sharp and Scripps are starting to do the same thing. And we're hoping to drive down cost. But I think if we know going in what something's going to cost, we can, as consumers, can shop it and see what the cost is and going, well, maybe I won't go to this place and get it done. Maybe I'll go someplace else. My kid needed a new transmission. They said it's $3,000. But if you shop around, you can bring that cost down to maybe $1,500. But we don't do that for medical care.
Well, I think that for the longest time, healthcare has been cloaked in secrecy, and we, as consumers, are completely in the dark when we go to the doctor. We don't know what our insurance covers or doesn't cover until the doctor tells us.
Right. Or you get your bill.
You get your bill, the doctor tells us later,
Exactly. I remember Michael Turco did a story on this, and I started laughing because he was asking him, what's the cost? And she said, well, it depends on the company. Are you paying cash? And it's really like that. And we need to get it where you can walk in and say, okay, here's what's going to cost me to get this done.
Now, you also talk about state by state, every state has a different plan, a different way to handle health care, and I'm sure that you talked about that in Washington, D.C. What did your congressional leaders say there?
We actually had Peter Lee come and talk, and he was talking about Cover California and how it's worked versus others. And each state's a little bit different because, again, in California, we have certain requirements that have to be in your health insurance that other states don't happen. So when they start talking about bringing insurance across state borders, it's a great idea, but is your insurance commissioner going to allow somebody from Kentucky to bring a plan to California without all these benefits that are required in the state of California?
Wouldn't that create competition, though?
We have competition. We have 5 or 6 different insurance companies. So there's competition here, whereas in a lot of other states, there are anywhere between 1 and 2 plans, and that's it. And that's one of the things we got to change. Some states, they have like 1 plan. And in Northern California, there's like certain areas, remote areas, that have like 1 plan to choose from. San Diego, we have, I think, 5 or 6 different ones. So we do have the competition. We need more competition. I think we need to let loose of what really is required in a plan and make it easier to get insurance at a reasonable cost. Because people want insurance, they just can't afford to spend these crazy numbers of what it's going to cost.
It's very expensive. And just quickly, now, did they give you an idea of when we might see some health care reform?
No, it's going slow. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
it's a slow
I keep
process,
hearing
isn't
that,
it?
saying, hey, here's what you want to do. And we're still talking about it, what, 2 years later?
Right.
I'm hoping, you know, anytime you get elections coming up, it always comes to the top of the chart. I think we're going to have, because of the governor's race, we're going to hear a lot about that. We're going to hear a lot about single payer. You know, people think, oh, it's a great idea until they look at the cost of it. And when they start realizing that the cost is going to be somewhere between $800 to $1,000 a month for every person in your family. So if you have a family of 4, you're looking at somewhere around $4 grand a month. You're going to go, you know, single payer isn't that great a deal. But we're going to start hearing more about it. It seems like the elections bring out always, you know, either nationally or locally, the cost of, you know, health insurance. And we're hoping short-term health insurance is also another big thing. Right now, if you lose your insurance and because you forgot to pay it, I can't help you till January. So we're talking about having short-term health insurance that will run for up to a year. Under the Obama administration, they brought it down to 3 months. And if you lose your coverage today, what are you going to do after 3 months? So that's the other thing that's
it. And that's an interesting topic. We'll leave that for another day.
Another day.
All right, Craig Gussin, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate
My pleasure.
that. Coming